Welcome back to Panicking Mannequin. We're looking at lab OSCE number 5 today, and this one's all about how you correctly use the microscope and accurately identify the parasite. We're going to head to the clinic. The examiners will be looking to see that you wear the correct PPE, safely set up the microscope, correctly locate and identify the parasite, and dispose of your waste correctly. Okay, so there is PPE here. So we're going to start with our apron and get that tied first. Here we go. And then we are going to grab our gloves, take off the dust cover, and we're going to work from bottom to top. So first things first, we're going to turn down the rheostat. And then we can turn our microscope on safely without burning out the bulb. We're going to use the coarse focus to lower the stage all the way to the bottom. We're going to move the iris diaphragm, so that's the one with the little lever on it. And you're going to sit that about halfway. Then the condenser, which on this one is just above that. You're going to bring it all the way to the top and then twist it back down about 1 to 2 centimeters. And we're going to make sure we have the lowest power lens selected. So we're going to pop our slide on there, making sure the initialed part is to the right. And I'm going to use the battlement technique. So we're going to go up and across, down and across, up and across, down, and there we go. We found the dot in the middle. We can use our coarse and fine focus to get a good view of that. And now that it's in the center of our field, we'll be able to take the vernier scale reading. To read a vernier scale, you first need to remember that there's a horizontal and a vertical scale, and that you always read the horizontal scale first. A good way to remember this is to think of a little guy running along the corridor and then escaping down the ladder. So starting on the horizontal scale, there's the big scale and then there's a little scale that runs alongside it. Looking at the little scale, there's either going to be a 0 mark or something that looks like a very tiny lollipop. The first thing to do is to look to see which big scale number the little lollipop is closest to. In this example, marked in orange, it's sitting between the 17 and the 18 on the big scale. Try to think of this like a scoring system. So the lollipop has made it past 17, but has not yet reached 18. Therefore, we always read the number that is before the lollipop. So in this example, it's 17. Next, we look at the rest of the tiny lines on the little scale, and we try and see which one matches up most accurately to the big scale. This can be super tricky though if your microscope is really old and worn out. In this example, marked in blue, the best matching little scale is 9. So you'd write that your horizontal reading is 17.9. Now onto the vertical reading. Look for the 0 or the little lollipop on the tiny scale. In this example, in orange, it's sitting between the 21 and the 22. So again, we fall back to the number before, so that's 21. And for the decimal place, look along those little lines, which one matches the big scale the best, and it's the 9th one. So for our vertical reading, 21.9. Occasionally, the lollipop might land perfectly on one of the big scale numbers. Then that little lollipop has precisely reached it to, in this example, the 21 mark. So the vertical reading here would be 21.0. Now that you've done your vernier scale reading, you can check with the assessor what they would like you to do with this prepared slide, whether there's a separate box for it. You're going to verbalise and record the vernier scale. Make sure you label them. We're then going to be shown an image of a parasite. And again, we're going to verbalise. This is the dog-sucking louse. You can give the Latin name if you're feeling fancy. Turn down our rheostat. Turn off our microscope. Replace our dust cover. And then dispose of our PPE in the clinical waste. And that's the end of the task. Let's have a look at the most common areas for mistakes. The incorrect parasite is identified. The incorrect vernier scale is given. Not preparing the microscope methodically. Poor technique when searching the slide for the parasite. Not using PPE. And poor waste disposal. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you're feeling less panicked and more peaceful, ready to step towards your OSCEs. If there's any other topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I will read them and I will try and get them done for you. Bye for now.